Paris, home to some of the world's greatest works of art. A city that attracts artists and art enthusiasts from across the world, all keen to soak up its extraordinary atmosphere of creativity and culture. This has long been the case. In the late 19th century, a number of artists initiated a bold new approach which would fundamentally alter our appreciation of painting. With hindsight, we can consider the later 19th century to have been one of the most significant periods in the whole of art history, the age of the great Impressionists and the equally great Post-Impressionists who followed them. In the mid-19th century, the salon was virtually the only route to artistic success. However, by the early 1860s, concern began to be expressed about the salon system and the kind of art selected for display by the official salon juries. Art submitted to the salon that failed to match the conservative tastes of the juries would simply not be selected for display. But in 1863, no less than 60% of the artworks submitted that year were rejected. Aware of this, the Emperor, Napoleon III, decided that all the rejected works should be displayed separately at a special salon, a salon of the rejected, the Salon des Refusés. It was a popular idea, as Napoleon probably suspected. But one of the paintings displayed at this one-off event caused an outrage, a work by an artist who would profoundly influence the painters who would soon change Western art forever. His name was Edouard Manet. His controversial painting, Le Déjeuner sur l'herbe, the picnic. What outraged many was the fact that the nudity painted by Manet was not being deployed to illustrate a classical myth or an allegorical message, as was standard at the time.
Here you have, blatantly obvious to one and all, a real woman set against two real contemporary dressed figures. The rough handling of the paint, the lack of finish, it's very flat, almost suggestive of photographs of the time.
Manet's views on color, light, and brushwork would prove popular with a number of young artists, then struggling for salon acceptance. It would be these artists that would create the style that we know today as Impressionism. The term describes the work of a group of painters centered in Paris who produced specifically Impressionist art between the 1860s and the 1880s. Artists like Pissarro, Degas, Renoir, and perhaps the greatest of them all, Monet. Tired of repeated salon rejections, the artists who would become known as Impressionists decided to present their own exhibition in the unlikely surroundings of a photographer's studio on the Boulevard des Capucines. On the 15th of April, 1874, the world received its first view of Impressionist art. On display were works by Monet, Renoir, Degas, and Pissarro, among others.